of us would be freaking out or being a big shot. 3 other people would go, "Excuse me," you know, and that kept us. And, you know, it's interesting, because the time we met Elvis, I really thought, how sad he's on his own. And he had all those people around, but he was on his own. I had 3 great mates. I'm welling up a bit here. I mean, I was in Rolling
I can't wait to see this whole interview. The legendary newsman Dan Rathers is celebrating the 100th episode of his acclaimed series, The Big Interview, on Access TV. And October 2nd, Dan Rather will sit down with rock and roll renaissance man Ringo Starr. Dan Rather joins me to tell us more about upcoming episodes. Good morning.
Good morning, Carly. Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to chat with you. When you walked away from that interview, what were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I was very interested to meet Ringo Starr. I've always thought of him as the least known of the 4 original Beatles. And I was very happy to see that, first of all, he came prepared to do an hour and 15-minute interview. As you know, the Big Interview runs for an hour. And he was excellent in opening up with such questions as, you know, what was the worst thing that happened to him in his life. Among those things were that he was hospitalized as a boy, you know, 10, 11, 12 years old, and it talked about what an impression that made him, being bedridden for that period, and it's what really got him seriously interested in music. He talked about how difficult it was. You know, most drummers are right-handed, and how it was difficult for him to learn to play left-handed. He learned to play so well that he influenced drummers for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But, you know, he runs deep. I think most people think of him as kind of a wild and crazy guy, and he certainly went through that stage when he was younger. But Ringo Starr runs deep. He also has a great sense of humor, which helped.
Yeah. Hey, from one interviewer to another, what is your secret or your kind of trick to staying on track? Because like you said, it's an hour and 15, which could be a blessing, and then other ways it could be difficult, too, to keep interviews on track. How do you do that? How do you kind of
everything depends. Yeah, everything depends on the interview subject. If the interview subject comes and sits down in the chair and is in the moment, then it's not difficult to stay on track. Occasionally you get people who are distracted by one thing or another, so it takes a little bit of effort to get them on track. But quite frankly, Carly, I haven't had a lot of trouble keeping people on track, because they come prepared. They know we're going to talk seriously. We're going to have a good time, try to have a sense of humor, but we're going to talk about serious questions. And almost without exception, you know, our first 3 this year in the series are Ringo Starr, Rod Stewart, Toby Keith. All of them came to play. All of them came in the chair, and they were attentive and wanted to answer the questions, even sometimes questions they just prefer not to have asked.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. Hey, who else is on your bucket list? You have an all-star lineup for this next season, but anybody that you're really, really still trying to get down and have that one-on-one with?
Oh, there are all kinds of people who are still trying. You know, Bruce Springsteen, whom I have met and talked to before. I'd love to interview Springsteen. Eminem, we've tried very hard to get to Eminem, and we're still trying. We have a long list of bucket list people, but we have a great season this season, as I say. Once you talk about Ringo Starr, Rod Stewart, Toby Keith, Joan Baez, Dan Aykroyd, that's a pretty good list. But we do have a bucket list, and we're always trying. If you can convince any of the people I mentioned, Springsteen or Eminem, call me collect.
Sounds good. Hey, maybe they're watching this morning. Dan, such an honor to have you on our show this morning. It looks like you're having a lot of fun. Who wouldn't be? And I'm going to be DVRing all the episodes. I can't wait, especially this one with Ringo.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Dan.